I've had this dream for a while now. A dream that would take almost 2 years to come to fruition and would be an experience I didn't want to forget. The thought of it would make me inspired, excited, and nervous all at the same time. And if I'm honest, solo travel in an older vehicle was a little bit daunting to me. But I knew it needed to happen. This day's been implanted in my mind for months. The day I finally get to load up the Subaru Baja for an overland adventure, and the day I get to get everything finalized to leave home for a true taste of freedom. Self-sufficiency is ultimately what I'm striving for, leaving creature comforts behind in exchange for memories and time in the mountains while becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. And it's the first time I get to really test out the Baja and all of its modifications for camping. This thing was built for solo adventures. No, it will not conquer many crazy off-road obstacles, but it is built to get me off the manicured path and carry everything I need for a week-long journey. Am I truly ready? I have no clue, but there's only one way to find out. For the first part of this journey, I find myself down in West Virginia in the Monongahela National Forest. This is a massive national forest, and I'm only going to see parts of it over the next week as I explore the east side of West Virginia. With a long day of highway driving under my belt and what looks to be a cold and rainy evening, I go in search of an overlooked camp spot to spend the night. With dinner made, it finally started sinking in. I was camping alone with a great view of the valley below, and I had nothing to do but enjoy my evening. As the first night came and went, the morning proved to be just as peaceful. I have a lot of trouble sitting down and relaxing, even on a trip like this. I'm usually excited to keep moving and quickly breeze by one thing to get to the next. But that is not what this trip is about.
And as far as my plan goes today, I do not have a plan. And that is the whole purpose of this trip. Usually I like to see a lot of things in the amount of time I have allotted. In this trip, it's kind of the opposite. I do want to see a lot of things, but I also want to enjoy the things, take some time to film, and just do what I love doing, which is just kind of driving around in a small area, exploring, you know, the little places that are in every area that most people don't see. So essentially what I did is I picked out a bunch of campsites in like a 30 to 50 mile radius, and I'm just gonna take the time to explore all the little roads and just do whatever I wanna do. And so this morning, I'm actually not really gonna do much. I'm just gonna chill out. I'm gonna dry out some stuff. It was pouring yesterday, as you saw, and the drive up was fun. There was a hailstorm, and so luckily the Baja is fine. It wasn't a terrible hailstorm, it was just little pieces, so no dents, nothing like that. We're all good to go. And originally, yet again, it was just a rain and thunderstorm all day here. But thankfully, woke up and there was no rain and the sun started peeking out, and it was beautiful. So it's looking like it's gonna be a pretty nice day for the morning at least. We'll see what happens in the afternoon. But yeah, I'm just excited to find more amazing camp spots. This one was fantastic, absolutely beautiful, and it looks like there's some cool ones coming up in the next few days.
This little car truck thing is an extremely unique vehicle to use for light overland adventures, and the more I utilize it, the more I desire to travel solo with it. Today is no exception, as I will be using it to explore the area and find some cool hiking spots.
Of lightning, pouring rain, crescent moon has taken itself far away to lay down. One more lazy dream. I can't sleep. We used to could. You and me, we was thicker than blood. But the sky grew dark and got inside of me. I still hear the words you told me. Baby, gonna be so lonely when I'm gone. But it isn't true. I was just as lonely with you. I guess I always will be. Someday soon, I'm gonna go back behind the clouds to see the big light show in the sky. You know, I've been there in my dream. You there, right by my side. We were ghosts with arms open wide, but we floated away. Strange
As the beautiful weather turned to pouring rain for the evening, I decided to arrive at another small overlook camp spot that I scouted earlier in the day. The nice thing about traveling in September is that there are less people to fight over camp spots for, as it seems many people are done with summer vacations and waiting for fall to set in. Not to mention that the weather is typically more mild, well, except for tonight. Mornings like these are one of my favorite things on the trip. The calmness after a night of rain combined with good views and good food sets the tone for the day. And sure, I may not be the best of cooks, but it's crazy how even the simplest of foods can taste great when out in the middle of nowhere. Today's goal was a little different. We're headed out of the Mower Basin in search of a new area to explore. But first, we have to finish exploring the roads on the way out. even though I am comfortable being out here, there's still one thing constantly on my mind.
And that thing is this thing. I do not trust the car as a whole yet. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I'm still getting check engine lights. Today, I got another check engine light. On my way down here, I got a check engine light, and then within 2 hours, it went away. And essentially what the check engine light is that it's running too lean, which is not the case. So it's reading that it's running lean, but then it's dumping fuel because it's running extremely rich. And so that is one of the problems that I can't seem to figure out. I've replaced a bunch of things. So now we're getting to the big stuff. But we're gonna figure that out when we get home. But what I need to do is just some normal checkup. I did schedule this for another time, but today I kind of have a chill day and I'm driving less than I thought I would. So I'm just gonna check up on everything, make sure everything looks good, and keep driving it because I have the check engine light, but there's nothing more I can really do at this point. So that is one of the scary parts of taking this thing out on a solo adventure. This thing's got a lot of miles on her, but I think she'll make it through. But I just want to do the preemptive checks, make sure everything is okay. Well, I'm glad I checked. I am a little bit low in oil, so I'm just gonna add some in. And in other completely unrelated news, I sheared my tires. I should say my tread. You can see right here. Yeah. So before the trip, I thought I clearanced these enough. Apparently not, because on the first trip I took with them, they were rubbing, got that fixed. I was like, okay, we're good to go. I only heard them rub maybe once this trip, and that was early on. So that was before this happened for sure. I don't know when this happened, but it was within the past probably 24 hours is my guess. But yeah, it caught a sharp edge up in here pretty far somehow. And yeah, I basically sheared my tread. So again, not a major issue. There's nothing I can do about it, but it does kind of suck because these are brand new tires. So anyways, let's keep moving.
And with the checkup done and everything looking good, I decided to hit some quick hikes in the area. I often find myself wanting to hike but never making the time for it. Plus, it's good to get me out of the driver's seat and get the blood flowing. As the second full day came to a close, I found a camping spot and started settling into the groove. The second or third night is much more efficient after getting systems organized and laid out better for cooking. Thankfully, the rain seemed to hold off most of the day, and that means I can finally enjoy a nice evening around the fire. Day 4 started as any other day, and I was excited to spend my third full day finding some cool spots. The problem was, I was getting a little bit bored of myself. And considering I am an extreme introvert, this was kind of surprising, yet I knew that this point would arrive. So, I wanted to try something new. I found myself in this very open part of West Virginia and found something I wanted to investigate on the map.
Man, so this just goes to show the power of right place and right time. I was driving by and I saw this little thing that said Sinks of Gandhi. I was like, I don't know what that means. It looks cool, like it looks like there's a stream or something. And it said upstream entrance and then it said downstream entrance. And I wasn't really sure what that meant, but I drove by. And then I saw everything around it was private property. I was like, okay, there's no way I'm allowed here. So I drove by, there was people there, but they looked like they were closing the gate or whatever. So I went by. A minute later, I was like, you know what? I want to go check that out. So I turned around, went to talk to them. Apparently they're actually the owners of this land. This is private land. Their family has owned it since about like 1939. And it's beautiful land. This is a crazy area of West Virginia that I didn't expect to see. It's very open. It's almost like the plains, but there's trees. I don't know. It's beautiful. But let's just say that was perfect timing because they're like, oh yeah, you can go on the land, just you can't drive on it, but you can walk to it, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's private, but I would probably check with them before you go here because it is beautiful. It's just crazy. I did not expect to see this, especially on this trip.
After visiting the sinks, I found myself at Spruce Knob Lake. This lake is a beautiful lake that you find on your way up to Spruce Knob, which is the highest point in West Virginia, sitting at over 4,800 feet. I spent my day exploring all the views Spruce Knob had to offer, while talking with some of the fascinating people that I crossed paths with. It is always awesome to be at tourist spots midweek outside of peak season. I often find I meet like-minded people who love travel and spending time camping.
Well, tacos have failed me yet again. It's raining out, so found a little shelter, put some tacos in. It's gonna sit here for sunset, but at the moment it's looking like there won't be a sunset because it is very foggy and cloudy and rainy and miserable. So I think at this point we're gonna make food, probably head back to the campsite, and I'll have to call it a night. There's not much else to do in this area, so we're gonna see about that.
As my final full day was approaching, I spent a quiet evening on top of an almost empty mountain. And all this alone time gave me more appreciation for the random people that I happened to stumble into and talk to during that day. In fact, I met this fascinating man who was a solo traveler and photographer. He told me a little bit about his travels, his life, and cool spots in the area. And as an introvert, solo travel ironically encouraged the desire to meet new people and hear their stories. I truly believe humans were not created to be alone, but a solo adventure can definitely push you to refocus.
So today is a very special day because today I'm headed to the Dolly Sods.
The Dolly Sods have been on my bucket list for a while now. I've heard great things about the area with all of its beauty, and I wanted to see what it was like. Being that this was my final full day, I decided to spend my time in the Dolly Sods wilderness by vehicle and foot. The only road in the Dolly Sods exists on the eastern side of the wilderness and is called the Road Across the Sky. This is a pretty accurate description as you're driving at around 4,000 feet with overlooks of the valley below and the wilderness. My first stop was what looked to be an old fire tower shown on the map. Most fire towers I've been to in the area have been unclimbable, but I figured I would check it out.
I made an old man. I said, tell me your story. He took out an old pen and wrote something for me. He kept walking on down the road, and I watched him disappear like smoke. And I thought I'd just seen a ghost. Then I looked down at what he wrote. It said, son, when you grow up you'll be fine. Now you've got questions on your mind. Life is gonna happen one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Stop looking for the answer.
The Dolly Sods and quite frankly every spot I've been to on this trip has been amazing. I could see myself coming back to the area very soon, but the thought of leaving is not a good one. Every good thing must come to an end. Living a life only of highs results in a boring life, and living a life of doing only what I want to do is misguided. As much as I would love to stay on the road, I also know that no matter where I'm at, there's always going to be negatives. There's no such thing as living a perfect dream life. And you know, I think it's taken me a few days for it to truly sink in. For the past year and a half, I've had many late nights getting this vehicle fixed and built up for this exact trip. It's not even about the vehicle. It's about where the vehicle can take me. I went into this trip prepared, but also expecting something to fail. And overall, I would say nothing drastically went wrong. I have more confidence in not only the Baja, but also my own abilities to travel solo. I know in the coming years I'll be traveling a lot with others, but also alone. I don't think I could ever see myself leaving solo travel completely, as I always walk away with a new perspective on life as a whole. This life is short. Use the short amount of time you have wisely.